It's only right that after DX came back this week on Raw that I say these two words to you. You ready? Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this week's episode of Chair Shot Wrestling. This week, we'll recap news from this week from AEW, WWE, and TNA. So without further ado, let's get ready to rumble. So starting off, we have the Elimination Chamber qualifiers that have already started very much so. For the men so far in the chamber, we have Bobby Lashley, Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, and LA Knight. Honestly, this chamber is going to be very exciting for the men, and for the women, it's going to be even more exciting because we're going to figure out who faces Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania, which is going to be a great match, whoever she faces at Mania. I'm thinking Becky Lynch pretty easily, but it could be Liv Morgan too. We don't know yet, but nonetheless, I think Drew will win the men's chamber. I think Becky will win the women's chamber. Those predictions may change a couple in a week as we lead up closer to the Elimination Chamber, but that is what I have so far. Speaking of chambers, another word that is similar to chamber is shield, and that's what Seth Rollins offered to be Cody Rhodes' shield this week. The term shield and Seth Rollins will always stick together throughout his career, as he started it with the shield, obviously. Some of people's favorite faction of all time, the Shield: Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, now Jon Moxley, and Seth Rollins. Probably one of the more fun groups we've seen in the WWE. But, Seth Rollins offering to be Cody Rhodes' Shield while Cody Rhodes takes on, his his big brother, Roman Reigns, as he calls him. It's just a very great thing that he brought back that term, and the way that whole promo went with Seth Rollins was just perfect. I mean, he executed it amazingly, and when Seth isn't just being his character and laughing around everywhere, and he actually has a serious promo, it's top of the line. It's the best promos that we see in wrestling easily. But Seth Rollins offering to be Cody Rhodes' Shield at WrestleMania, we got to see how that will turn out. Speaking on Seth Rollins, though, the men's chamber match more than likely now decides who will face Seth at Mania for the World Heavyweight Championship, now that we know that he will be at WrestleMania fighting, because his injury will not last that long and his recovery seems to be going pretty well as of so far. And obviously, we could say it's for the U.S. title because Logan Paul still has to wrestle his match to see if he can get into the chamber, but I mean, genuinely, you can't have Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton go into the U.S. title picture and fight for the U.S. title at Chamber. That would just be kind of a ridiculous thing, since those guys are so deep into the world title picture. And, I would have understood if they had Bronson Reed instead of Bobby Lashley. Maybe I'd give him a big push in the Chamber, but, obviously they had him lose. I think he's going to go after a separate title on his own at the Chamber and fight in front of his home country in Australia. Speaking still on WWE, though, on Monday Night Raw, we had R-Truth get saved from the Judgment Day by DIY, or is it DX? Because R-Truth seemed to think it's DX coming back onto Monday Night Raw. There is obviously some merchandise made there. It's just such an amazing joke, and R-Truth, I will say it time and time again, just such a great person to have in wrestling, in promos, just in general, because he elevates shows so much without even having to try that much. And he's such an underappreciated piece that we didn't even think about when he was hurt. And when he came back, he's just elevated Monday Night Raw and wrestling in general so much. But tomorrow night on Friday Night SmackDown, we're going to have Roman Reigns, not only, but the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. We are going to have The Rock on Monday Night Raw with Roman Reigns. As he is seemingly doing his heel turn to join Roman in forces as Roman takes on Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40. I'm loving this heel turn so far. Rock has barely been back in the WWE, but he's just doing such a good job. The press conference really solidifying it, the episodes of SmackDown and Raw that he's been on. But, generally this Rock comeback for WrestleMania season, it's going to be amazing, and we just got to enjoy it to the best of our abilities, and now we can, because he is not taking Cody's spot in the WrestleMania match. But moving on to AEW, because we have a couple of topics to discuss here. We have Durana Purrazzo versus Toni Storm, which is going to be a Revolution on, I think, March 11th? No, March 3rd. Sorry. But You know, obviously they're like sisters. They were in New Japan together. They were at WWE around the same time. And something that's been highlighted by Deonna Purrazzo is the fact that they have matching tattoos on, I think, their ankles, which they come from a very deep line of friendship, and seeing Tony succeeding now like she never has, and Deonna Purrazzo being new to AEW, this match is going to be amazing. The in-ring storytelling is going to be perfection, I think, and I think this could be one of the best wrestling or women's wrestling matches we've seen at AEW in a while. Obviously the women's division there being so elevated by people like Mariah May coming in, Deonna Purrazzo, and soon to be Mercedes Moné. So that division is going up. They have one of, if not the most talented, full roster of wrestlers in wrestling. I still think WWE is better, but that is my opinion. But, AEW is on the uprise. And speaking of that, real quick, we're going to have to take a break. We will be back in a short minute, though. Welcome back now to Chairshot Wrestling. Our next topic, though, at AEW Revolution, Will Ospreay should be full-time because he finished up his stint in New Japan after his last match, and this is huge because he is going to be, as of right now, MJF is not wrestling right now, but he's going to be the best wrestler in AEW by a wide margin. Will Ospreay, my opinion, multiple other people's opinion, the best wrestler in the world right now. And Ospreay is he's going to elevate them so much. It's obvious at this point. But the dream matches that he could have in AEW are absolutely endless. Going from guys like Adam Cole, going all the way down to Wardlow, and even Roderick Strong. That's just the Undisputed Era, though. And there are an Undisputed Kingdom, my fault. And so many other dream matches that he could have there. But that's just the tip of the iceberg right there, folks. Speaking back, still to AEW, Kazuchika Okada confirmed pretty much to be All Elite. And, this is huge because we all thought, he was locked in WWE, going to go down to NXT for a little bit. But this completely changes everything. Kazuchika Okada obviously going to be at the top of the division for whatever title he goes for at first, since he is, AEW has basically stripped away all of the good wrestlers in New Japan. And obviously they'll let them go back and have their matches every once in a while in New Japan. But they are going to be there for the majority of time, and it is going to be a very exciting run for the Rainmaker and also for Will Ospreay. Now on to TNA. Matt Riddle, former WWE star, former UFC star, talking to TNA about signing there, which, he's a talented wrestler. He shouldn't be in MLW or wherever he is in one of those promotions. He deserves to be on TV in a big promotion, and, TNA on the uprise, this could help them. This could help him. As long as he doesn't do anything dumb, I think they can make this work out, and I think he could be a great wrestler there. So many dream matches. He could face Josh Alexander. He could face Alex Shelley. He can even face Mustafa Ali. And he, as well as many other signings there, he's going to get such an elevation there because of the fact that he wasn't really used correctly in WWE, not in the way of, more in a way of just he wasn't really given a good singles run. He had the U.S. title for a little bit, but besides that, they didn't really give him a world title. They didn't really give him what he deserved. And yeah, Matt Riddle could be a great signing there as long as nothing stops that signing. Still here on TNA, Scott D'Amore, former president of TNA. He was fired about a week and a half ago, and we had no clue why. We have gotten more backstory now, as they were supposed to mutually agree to part about a month ago, but Scott D'Amore wasn't quite with the idea, and he was arguing with them. He even tried to buy TNA once, apparently, and obviously they rejected it. And, he was just fired because they couldn't mutually agree on anything, and they wanted to move on from him for some reason. But anyways, to our final topic of the day, I'm going to give you guys a little bonus WrestleMania match prediction of the week. And for this one, I'm going to do Gunther's match because Gunther has not really had an opponent now because obviously all the problems with Brock Lesnar, and he's really taken out a lot of that division. I think he's going to face NXT's one half of the tag team champion Wolf Dogs, Braun Breaker, at WrestleMania, as Braun will be called up by then. Him and Gunther could have an absolute amazing match, and I think that match could really reach for everything they've been looking for in this Lesnar-Gunther match. I think it could even be better. But that is just my opinion. Sadly, that'll be all for us this week. But don't worry, we'll be back next week with the newest wrestling news from WWE, TNA, and AEW. As always, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next week on Chair Shot Wrestling.